Have you ever felt it? That deafening silence that finds you in the middle of a crowded room? You speak, your words carefully chosen, your ideas forged in the deep recesses of your soul, but they seem to pass through the air like ghosts, dissolving unheard into the noise of shallow conversation. You look around, only to see your own reflection in the blank, indifferent eyes of others. This isn't invisibility. It's something far more painful. It is the curse of possessing a depth that others cannot navigate, and because they cannot understand it, they choose to ignore it. You are an ocean in a world searching for shallow puddles to admire its own reflection in. Every attempt you make to reveal that depth is met with a polite smile, a nervous laugh, or a sudden change of subject. Society, that grand architect of mediocrity, has conditioned us to fit in. We are taught that humility is a virtue, that predictability is a strength, that intellectual ambition is a form of arrogant pride. These are beautiful chains, presented to us as a moral code. They are the gilded bars of a cage that holds the lion within you captive, all to keep the sheep of the herd feeling safe. You participate in this rigged game, a game where the price of acceptance is the quiet abandonment of your true self. But in the solitude of the night, when the masks come off, the feeling returns, that inner whisper that asks, "Is this all I am meant to be?" A silent shadow in the background of other people's lives. This is the ache of a potential unrealized, the pain of a powerful will that has been sentenced to silence. But what if there was another way? What if you could forge a mind so powerful, so sovereign, so penetrating, that your very presence altered the physics of the room, not through shouting, but through your centered silence, not through physical intimidation, but through the awe and quiet fear that others feel in the face of a will made of iron and a depth they dare not explore. This video is not about learning to scare people. It is about awakening a power so profound within you that others have no choice but to reckon with it. The question is, do you have the courage to face the monster within, to finally claim that power as your own? Are you ready to step out of the shadows and become a light so bright it can no longer be ignored?
Your answer to that question will define the path you walk from this day forward. Because the solution we seek is not found by looking ahead into the noise of the future, but by looking back into the mind of a man who took a hammer to the idols of his time. A man who stared into the abyss of the human soul and did not flinch. In the 19th century, a German philosopher named Friedrich Nietzsche diagnosed this modern sickness with ruthless precision. He saw that Western civilization was sinking into a comfortable, pleasant swamp of mediocrity. He saw an invisible but all-pervasive value system that was poisoning great spirits, domesticating humanity, and breeding a tamer, weaker, more predictable type of person. Nietzsche called this system slave morality. Slave morality, he argued, is the clever invention of the weak. It is a spiritual revenge. It takes all the qualities of the powerful, noble individual and labels them as evil. Pride becomes a sin. Ambition is twisted into ugly arrogance. Intellectual independence is condemned as selfishness. In its place, all the attributes of weakness are raised up as virtues: pity, humility, obedience, and blending in with the herd. This is the poison you have been drinking. The pain you feel is the pain of a soul that was born to fly, but has been kept in a cage of false virtues. But if this is the disease, what is the cure? The key to escaping this cage, to forging that formidable mind, lies in the most powerful and dangerously misunderstood concept in Nietzsche's philosophy: the will to power. Let us dispense with the caricature right now. The will to power, as it was grotesquely distorted by the tyrants of the 20th century, is not the desire for brutish domination over others. It is not a political or military drive. It is a fundamental cosmic force that flows through all living things. It is the will of a single seed to crack through concrete and become a towering oak. It is the will of an artist to transform a blank canvas into an immortal masterpiece. It is the will of an athlete to shatter the limits of their own body and achieve the impossible.
And most importantly, it is your will to overcome the weaker version of yourself. The will to power is not an external battle, it is an internal war. It is a war against your own fears, your own laziness, your own need for approval, and all the inner voices that tell you that you are not enough. The mind you seek, the mind whose presence intimidates others, is the end product of an awakened will to power. It does not draw its strength from subjugating others, it draws its strength from the absolute mastery of itself. Nietzsche gave a name to this ideal, to the human being who emerges victorious from this inner war, the Übermensch, or the Overman. The Overman is not a comic book hero with supernatural abilities. He is the goal of human spiritual evolution. The Overman is the one who has transcended slave morality and has become the creator of his own values. He does not search for happiness, he searches for meaning. And he knows that meaning is most often found in the heart of the greatest suffering. The Overman does not fear solitude, he cultivates it, for it is in the silence that he can hear his own authentic voice. He does not see suffering as a curse, but embraces it, living by a principle Nietzsche called amor fati, or a love of one's fate. He says yes to all of life, to the joy and the pain, for he knows that every wound is a lesson, every obstacle a crucible forging him into a master of himself. That feeling of being invisible we spoke of at the beginning, it is the direct symptom of a suppressed will to power. You have denied your own strength in order to be accepted by a morality designed to protect the herd. You have betrayed your will to grow in exchange for the false comfort and security of the flock. The average timid mind is terrified by the Overman because the Overman is a mirror that reflects all their weakness and their cowardice back at them. His very existence is a silent judgment on their unlived lives. So here is the key. It is the understanding that you are a battleground, a conflict between the human, all-too-human animal that seeks comfort and safety and the potential Overman that lies dormant within you, waiting for your call to arms. Nietzsche does not give us a map, he gives us a hammer to carve our own path. He tells us that the key to liberation is to reclaim this will to power and to begin the painful but glorious journey of self-overcoming.
Philosophy without action is merely a decoration for your prison cell. It is an exquisite ornament, but it is not the key that will break the lock. Now that Nietzsche's hammer is in your hands, it is time to strike. It is time to shatter the chains and begin forging that adamantine mind. This journey, this art of self-overcoming, is built upon a set of ruthless, yet necessary laws. These are the 7 commandments for reclaiming your will to power. The first law, revalue your values. The first and most violent blow must be struck against the very foundation of your prison, the values you never chose. From birth, we are told what is good and what is evil. It is good to be agreeable, to be modest, to put others first. But you must ask, who do these values serve? Is humility truly a virtue, or is it a clever tool to restrain your ambition so that others do not feel threatened? Is self-sacrifice always noble, or is it sometimes an excuse to flee from the terrifying responsibility of building your own life? Take out a journal. Draw a line down the center of a page. On one side, list the virtues society has handed you: safety, comfort, agreeableness, humility. Then on the other side, write their opposites, the values that serve your ascent: growth, challenge, authenticity, honorable pride. Nietzsche called this the transvaluation of all values. This is not about becoming an evil person. It is about having the courage to define good and evil for yourself, based on your own internal law. Your sole criterion must be this: does this value enhance my will to power or diminish it? Does it propel me toward the highest version of myself, or does it keep me safely within the herd? The mind that intimidates others is a mind that operates on its own personal constitution, not on the bylaws of the crowd. The second law: embrace the abyss of solitude. The powerful mind is forged in silence, not in the clamor for social approval. Modern society is terrified of silence and solitude. We fill every empty space with digital noise, meaningless chatter, and endless entertainment. Why? Because in solitude, there is no escape from ourselves. In solitude, we come face to face with all our weaknesses, our fears, and our untapped potential. Do not flee from this confrontation. Make it your most sacred ritual. Dedicate time each day to absolute solitude. No phone, no books, no music. Just you and your thoughts. At first, your mind will rebel. It will grow anxious. But if you persist, something magical happens. The voices of others fade away, and for the first time, you will hear the quiet, authentic voice within. This is the voice of your will. Nietzsche wrote much of his greatest work in the isolation of the Swiss Alps. He knew that to hear the eagles cry, one must leave the noise of the marketplace. Solitude is the laboratory of your soul. It is where great ideas are born, where true decisions are made, and where a character that is not dependent on others is forged. He who can enjoy his own company will never be lonely, and he will never seek the company of others out of desperation. That independence is profoundly intimidating.
The third law: become the master of your suffering. Our culture treats suffering as a problem to be solved. We seek pills, quick fixes, and positive thinking platitudes to medicate any and all discomfort. Nietzsche held this attitude in contempt. He famously wrote, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." This is not a hollow slogan. It is a fundamental strategy for growth. Suffering is the whetstone of your will. Every challenge, every failure, every heartbreak is a training opportunity. When you're faced with an obstacle, instead of asking, "Why me?" you must ask, "What is this trying to teach me? Which spiritual muscle is this meant to strengthen?" This is the practice of amor fati, a love of one's fate. It means not just accepting everything that happens, but loving it, because you know the universe is using these very hardships to sculpt you into a masterpiece. The person who runs from suffering will always remain weak, but the person who turns to face it, who uses it as fuel, develops a strength that others cannot even comprehend. They break under pressure, you stand upon your hardships and grow taller. This mindset makes you an alchemist, capable of transforming the lead of life's pain into the pure gold of power. The fourth law: live dangerously. For believe me, Nietzsche proclaimed, the secret for harvesting from existence the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment is to live dangerously. Build your cities on the slopes of Vesuvius. Send your ships into uncharted seas. This is not a call for reckless abandon. It is a command to perpetually exit your comfort zone. The comfort zone is the graveyard of your potential. What does it mean to live dangerously today? It means speaking the radical, unconventional idea in the corporate meeting that everyone else is too afraid to voice. It means choosing to pursue your true calling, your art, your mission, instead of the safe and secure career path, even if the way is uncertain. It means having that difficult conversation with a loved one that you have been avoiding for years. It means reading the books that challenge your beliefs, not the ones that confirm them. The herd mind seeks stability. The mind of the Overman seeks growth. And growth never happens in a state of equilibrium. Every time you obey your fear and choose the safe path, you cede a piece of your will to it. Every time you consciously step toward that which you fear, you reclaim that power. People are intimidated by someone who is willing to risk things they are not. It reminds them of how cautious and how small their own lives have become. The fifth law: forge the body as a tool of the will. Unlike many philosophers who divorced the mind from the body, Nietzsche insisted on their absolute unity. The body, he said, is a great reason. You cannot house an iron will in a soft, undisciplined body. Physical laxity translates directly into mental and spiritual laxity. Bodily discipline is the training ground of the will to power. When the alarm rings at 5 a.m. for your workout and you conquer the urge to stay in bed, that is a victory for your will. When you refuse the junk food that offers a moment of pleasure, that is a victory for your will. When you endure a cold shower, you are teaching your nervous system that you are in control, not your fleeting impulses. These daily drills may seem small, but they are laying a powerful foundation. A body that is strong, energetic, and under your command supports a mind that can focus, manage stress, and withstand psychological pressure. Do not see your body as an animal to be tamed. See it as your partner, a sacred vessel, the physical manifestation of your will on earth. The respect you give your body is a reflection of the respect you have for yourself. The sixth law: wield your masks consciously. Every deep spirit needs a mask, Nietzsche wrote. This may sound contradictory. Are we not seeking authenticity? Yes, but authenticity in a shallow world must be strategic. To reveal your entire depth, your every vulnerability, your full power to everyone you meet is, as he said, like casting pearls before swine. The weak person either has no mask, carelessly exposing their inner world to be wounded, or they wear one fixed, unconscious mask of the nice guy. The person of power has a wardrobe of masks, and they choose consciously which one to wear in any given situation. In a business negotiation, they wear the mask of logic and resolve. With a friend in pain, they wear the mask of empathy. Among curious strangers, they wear the mask of enigmatic silence. This is not hypocrisy. It is social intelligence and the preservation of your inner energy. You do not squander the treasures of your soul on just anyone. You choose who is worthy of seeing which facet of you. This control over your self-revelation creates an aura of unpredictability and depth. Others can never fully figure you out, and that uncertainty keeps them cautious, respectful, and intimidated.
The seventh law: overcome, do not forgive. The final and perhaps most radical law. Slave morality praises forgiveness as a high virtue. You are told to forgive those who trespass against you in order to be free. Nietzsche saw this as another deception. Forgiveness often keeps the offender at the center of the story, casting you in the role of the magnanimous victim. Nietzsche offers a more powerful alternative: to overcome. Instead of forgiving someone who has harmed you, you pour all of that energy into your own growth and self-perfection. You become so great, so successful, so spiritually powerful that the person and their transgression shrink into an insignificant, forgotten speck in your past. The ultimate revenge is not retaliation. The ultimate revenge is a profound indifference born from a position of immense strength. You no longer think of them, not because you have absolved them, but because you have so far outgrown them that they no longer exist on your plane of reality. You have overcome the memory. This is the total reclamation of power. It is the final statement that no one but you has the authority to define your inner state and your destiny. These 7 commandments are your roadmap. The path is difficult, it is challenging, but it is the only path to the mind you seek to build.
We began our journey in the painful shadow of being invisible. We found our key in the philosophy of Nietzsche, the will to power. And then we laid down the 7 commandments as a roadmap to forge an independent and formidable mind. Remember, the mind that intimidates is not one of aggression or tyranny. It is a mind that has achieved such a degree of self-awareness, discipline, and authenticity that it no longer plays by the established rules of the social game. It becomes the architect of its own. The presence that emanates from such a mind, the presence that fills a room and commands respect through silence, is the natural, inevitable byproduct of this internal journey toward the Overman. You no longer seek approval, you become the standard. And now, the hammer has been passed to you. This knowledge is useless if it is not acted upon. So let us end this transmission with a challenge, a covenant with yourself. I ask you now, which socially imposed virtue has been your heaviest chain? Is it the demand for a false humility, the need to please everyone, the fear of taking a risk? And more importantly, what is the first concrete physical step you will take to break that chain after this video ends? This is not just a question, this is your first strike. Declare your first act of rebellion in the comments below. The most profound and courageous answers will be pinned. This is your training ground. Look upon the words of others. You are not alone on this path. But know this, our journey into self-mastery does not end here. Forging a powerful will is only half the battle. There is another force dormant in your psyche, a dark, primal, and suppressed energy that the great psychologist Carl Jung called the shadow. To ignore this force is to leave yourself incomplete and fragile. Subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell. Until then, go into the silence with your will and strike the first blow.